Welcome to Creative Pages with Catherine. I'm Catherine, and it's time for Halloween Palooza, hosted by Indie Annie Jones. And today I have a fun shaker card for you all using our Creative Memories products. I am a Creative Memories independent advisor. If you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, I hope you will do so and come back and watch some of my other videos that I already have on my channel. I do have several other Halloween projects if that's what you're looking for. And I do have a lot of other card and scrapbooking ideas as well. So let's get to this project. Today we're going to be working with our Happy Hauntings collection, which is one of two Halloween collections that are currently on my Creative Memories website. I will link in the description box below to my Creative Memories website if you're interested in purchasing any of the products that I'm showing today. So we're going to be working with our sticker pack. You can see I kind of already picked out some fun spiders. There are a couple of different ways to approach the shaker card. We're going to be using today a Peekaboo Pocket, which is essentially a clear pocket that's see-through. And you can kind of see it's basically a pocket. A lot of times we'll put like ticket stubs or other things on to our scrapbook pages using them. And there's adhesive up here only. This little flap folds and you have essentially a pocket to store items on your scrapbook pages or whatever you want to put it on. This one is a 4x4 and we do sell them in a 10 pack for less than $10. However, we also have memorabilia pockets on our website, and this comes more in a sampler pack, so it's a 10 pack as well. It's also less than $10, but as you can see, it looks a little different because the adhesive is here. This is where you're going to fold down this flap and stick it down here. You can also add, like if we used this one for the shaker card, we would probably add a little extra adhesive up along the seam just to make sure that our little pieces don't come out of it. But it also has adhesive all along the back. So you can use this as a not all the way see-through shaker card. So let me show you real quick what I'm talking about. We're going to be making our card. This is going to be our card front. I pulled out one of our blank cards from our blank card kit. The front of my card is going to be this. And if you wanted to use the memorabilia pocket, we're going to cut out a little panel here. You would cut your panel, and then you would have your memorabilia pocket just behind it. You would stick your memorabilia pocket to the front of the blank card. For our card today, we're going to do it more as a kind of window, a see-through the entire card. So we're going to have, this is actually going to be on the inside part. We're going to have this on the top. We're going to have our Peekaboo Pocket back here inside the card. And then we're going to also have another piece of designer paper framing. So that way it holds our Peekaboo Pocket in the middle of our card. So you're going to see that in just a moment. But I wanted to talk about the difference between the two and how if you want to have more space to write inside your card that isn't going to, because obviously you're going to have this whole center part of our card is going to be open to viewing through the shaker part. And if you don't want that, if you actually want to be able to write a full note to somebody, use the memorabilia pocket and then you'll still have the integrity of the front of your card. You can still put your bats inside if you want, but you also will have all this space to write a Halloween greetings or, hey, come to my house on Halloween for a party. And I just wanted to give you all a couple of options. How's about that? So essentially, if you were going to use this pocket, you're essentially going to follow the instructions I'm going to show you. I just wanted to talk you through both of them so that way you would know what those were. I have cut two of our Happy Hauntings designer papers. Our cards our standard A2 size, our 5.5 by 4.25. We're going to use the star on the front. We're going to use the bats on the inside. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and just adhere one side of my designer paper using my tape runner to the side of the card because it's easier to work with it as a flap, if you will, and it's much easier when it's actually stable and steady in the card. I got this just a little bit too far for my fold. Okay. Here we go. You want to make sure you're just above where the card actually folds. So maybe I'll actually do it this way. There we go. So when I get it in my trimmer, I may wind up cutting off just this little bit. We'll see what happens. All right, let's go ahead and get our front stuck down as well. So our stars are going on this front here. There we go. Yep, I have just a little bit of excess, but that's okay. I have my peekaboo pocket, but what I did was I took one of my index sheets. These are sheets that you get with every single paper pack. So if you purchase the Happy Hauntings paper pack, you'll get one that says Creative Memories, Happy Hauntings, and essentially it's a free sheet of paper, cardstock, whatever you want to use it for. I mean, obviously it's not double-sided unless you want to pull out the pieces from it, but that's up to you. I cut this little piece 3.5 inches by 2 3/4 inches. So 3.5 by 2 3/4. And this is I'm gonna use my repositionable tape to put this on. The front, I'm gonna kind of center it. I am gonna center it. Let me put it that way. Because then it gives you a better window. When you have it centered, you can eyeball it. Or you can pull out your zero centering ruler and make sure that you are, exactly lined up in the middle. Pretty close. I'm right at the 1 3/4 here, and I'm right at the, let's see, where am I? Here's an inch, here's an inch. I need to scoot this up a little because I only did it at the, yeah, that's actually pretty close, 1 3/8. So there are your measurements if that's what you want to try for. And it looks like it's centered pretty well on our card. The next thing you need to do is pull out your trimmer. And on our trimmer, we have this really fantastic pull down cutting guide. So I'm going to hold it up closer to the camera for you. So here we go. This is my cutting guide pulled down. You can see where it has a solid black line. If I can get my camera to focus on it for you. A solid black line running through the center of this little plastic part that comes down. Let me actually put my, oh, that covers up the line, doesn't it? There we go. I'll put it underneath. You can see that's solid, whereas our actual cutting lane is dotted. And that's actually where our blade is going to cut through the paper. Let me put this down. And we are going to line up our card. We're going to use our cutting guide and make sure that we get just right under where our paper is going to run. Let me put away my multi-purpose tool here. So right there. So you just want to cut this section here. So you're probably wondering, how is she going to do this? Well, the other nice feature of our trimmer is that we have a white line that runs along the side of our cutting box. This cutting box that houses our blade is 2 inches. And this line runs right at 1 inch, but it also helps us to know where to put our blade to line it up with the top of the paper. So here I am just going to press hard to make sure to get through all 3 of these pages. I'm going to go one more time because it is, oh, you know what? And you were doing so well. Okay, let me grab another card. We'll just do this again. And so I messed that up. Learn from Catherine here. I'm going to actually pull my papers off of my card. You can see I forgot to unfold my card. And, I don't do that every time. Usually I remember things like that, but this way I figured, it's one of those, what do they call them, teachable moments. But it was good because I did get through both the paper and the card. So I'm just going to go ahead and reline it up. Take it off of here. It's a good thing I just used a little bit of tape. If you want to use the repositionable, it'll come off even quicker and easier all the way around. Let's go ahead and get this back on here, and then we're going to recut. But I need to line this up better. Okay. And that's the nice thing about having your actual template stuck on here. You can see where I'm still just a little bit over here. I'm going to go ahead and open my card this time. I'm flipping it over to get it into the trimmer. And I'm going to line it up over here first so that way we can see this other side again and make sure that I've gotten through it okay. So there we go, using my cut guide again. Let's see, there is a line on this other side as well. So I'm lining it up with the top of the white box and the bottom of the white box. And you can see I've got just a little bit over, but you know what? If there's any other errors, we have a sticker that's going to help us cover some of that. So turn it, make sure your card's still open, line it up with the next seam, and go ahead and cut all the way around this white box here. We're basically going to cut away our white box. All right, so now that's side 4. And you can see where everything is moving freely through the center of that card. I'm going to set aside my trimmer because that is all we are going to need it for. This whole center portion is coming out. Let's see here. I have a little bit that's still attached, so I am actually just going to grab my microtip scissors. This is that one side where we had to cut it twice. So I have a couple of little extra threads of paper here. You know what? That's the one thing I love about paper crafting is you can always grab your scissors and fix things. There we go. Okay, so that's our centerpiece. That's going to be our pocket for our shaker, part of our card to see our shaking. So we're going to go ahead and actually adhere this front because remember I said that we're going to stick our peekaboo pocket inside, which we are. So our front's going to go on here like this, all nice and secure. Our back is going to have the peekaboo pocket. So first things first, I had done a project at some point where I was using the Bats and Stars Border Maker cartridge, and this one is what we call a punch out cartridge. So it gives you essentially the reverse look on your paper. So if I had taken and punched this bat paper, you would see little white bats, but the integrity of the paper would be there. It would just have the bats and stars cut out of it. And so I saved, a bunch of my pieces that came out, that punched out from my border maker. These are all bats and stars. I'll show you in just a moment here. I bagged them so that way they would be easier to manage. And you know what? One of the things I did not know to do at the time that I bagged it. Okay, there's a star. Here's one of the bats. One thing I didn't know to do when I bagged it was to rub a dryer sheet inside. And you can see where we have just several different sizes of bats. We have several different sizes of stars that are going to be inside of our shaker, for our shaker card. And I'm going to go ahead and seal them in. I think, no, my sticky is on the outside, isn't it, on this one? Hang on, let's figure that out. So I already did do the dryer sheet inside, so you can see how my pieces will come apart nicely when somebody actually shakes the card. Let me double check where I think this is one of the hardest things about the Peekaboo Pocket versus the Memorabilia Pocket. Okay. Yep. This one actually, the sticky is on this side. So we're going to actually just go ahead and stick it to the top part of our card. Here we go. Okay. So we're just going to go ahead and close this flap down. We're going to open our little turnstile here, or our part of our card. I'm going to make sure I'm on camera here for you all here. I tried to put it so I'd be nice and close so you all could see what I'm doing here. This one, because it's 4x4, you have to make sure it only has about 1/8 of an inch of leeway, both on the top and the bottom of the Peekaboo Pocket. So you want to make sure that you're really tight when you're putting it inside the card. Whereas with the Memorabilia Pocket, the size is, hang on, I got the wrong board. Okay, with the Memorabilia Pocket, the size is 4.1 by 3.6. And so again, it's going to be a little bit tight, but not quite as tight. So it's going to be a little bit less. It's 4.1 across, so you see how it still fits in our window. And now, in fact, you could even go a little bit smaller, because right now I'm seeing just a little bit of the flap here. But when you stick it, if you stuck it to the front of the card, this would go on the front of the card, which of course we've already stuck down. So it's going to be a little harder to see. Let me actually go back over here and put it on top of here. So you're going to see just a little bit of this flap if you leave your dimensions with where I had them for the cutting of the space on the card front. So you're going to want to adjust your measurement by 3/8 of an inch when you do your cutting for this square. You're going to want it at 3.5 wide, or you could even go in a little bit. You might want to make it closer to 3.25 by, so you do 3.25 by 2.25, and that would make it small enough. It definitely would be a smaller window, but it also would cover where this flap goes. And I'm seeing just a little bit of the seam here. There's a slight seam inside the Memorabilia Pocket on the inside here, where there's a differentiation of where the glue is and where the actual pocket part is. It's hard to see. You're just going to have to take my word for it, but there's a little bit where the actual pocket, well, no, it's just actually, I guess, where the glue is. So there's just a little seam that runs along. So bring it in just a little bit so that way you don't have this part peeping out from underneath your edge of your card front if you decide to use the Memorabilia Pocket. But here we are working with the Peekaboo Pocket. Instead, I'm going to flip this up just a moment. I probably should have sealed it before we put it down, but that's okay. I want to put just a little bit of tape burner up here to make sure things stay down. And I want to make sure it stays hidden behind my card front, which is why I didn't do it before. Oh, all my stars are starting to slide out. Yep, here we go. We lost one. Get back in there. Just do it this way. There we go. Okay. Make sure all your stuff is down in the bottom of the Peekaboo. There we go. Okay. So this actually is going to stay nice and tight on this side because we already had our paper down. This, you kind of want to shake it down first to do this top edge, and then we'll put it to the other end, our actual bats, so that way when we put our tape to hold it down, we will have a more flat area and they won't go into this part as much. I mean, they probably will. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some along the side here. Here we go. Okay. So there's that with all of our bats, and you can shake them until they separate, so you can see your bats and stars through there. How fun is that? Just so Halloweeny. But you can see also what I was talking about, how you can see completely through the entire card front through to the white part, which is the back of our card. So for that, I have picked out a fun spider. So I want to get him here, and I want to have him centered. So that way when you're shaking, you're kind of going, what's behind that? We'll have a spider here. And then it's up to you if you want to write in this middle part. Oops, you know what? I didn't put any extra tape behind my peekaboo pocket to secure it down. So don't forget to do that. That actually was good that I noticed that. This is why we have it inside the card. And there we go. Now we're secure on all four sides. You can see our little bit of our spider that people are going to be kind of shaking to try to find. And we're also going to add some spiders along the front here. We're going to just cut this one here, I think. Where are my scissors? Here. When we cut it using the 12-inch trimmer, you do wind up with a little bit of, even as close as you're watching, you still wind up with just a little bit of a detail here. I don't know if I can get the camera to focus on it, but there's a little bit of just kind of a slight pull. It's not the super clean corners that you want. So here, you see how this, hang on, this corner lifts up just a little bit where I went over my white box just a hair. We're going to add some spiders to cover that up. And those are going to go across the front of our card. Actually, let's just measure it this way. So that way we know where we need to cut in between. And this is why I said we're going to use our sticker pack. We have our boo sticker inside. We have our spider border sticker going across the front here, across the top and the bottom. And you could use, if you don't have your border sticker anymore, there are some just single spiders that you could add, but I almost want to add one kind of over here to the side just to give it a little extra effect. And you can always cut the other ones apart as well, but it's just sometimes adding these little details really help when you're doing a card. Add some extra design elements, some extra definition. Sorry, I'm getting a bit of a glare from my lights. It's because of the plastic in the peekaboo pocket. And then grab your pens. We have a orange pen. We have our black pen. I might actually use the black one. I thought I might do like Happy Halloween up here in orange, but I just don't think it fits all of the grays and blacks that we already have in this card. And I'm gonna just go ahead and put a Happy Halloween up here. And then if you want to, like I said, you can use this as a party invite, or I think honestly it would be better with this piece back in here and using the memorabilia pocket for your shaker part. I mean, of course, you're going to have a white background on it, but you can also put, let me grab my repositionable tape. You can also put either your pats Or you can even put your stars back. 1 second, let me get this off of here if I can. Real quick, just to give you this extra idea. And of course, you're going to see a little bit of my repositionable tape from where I put that other index sheet on there. So I probably wouldn't use this paper, but we wouldn't have this. Well, yeah, you probably would. So I don't know. If you wanted to, you could put it where you see if you were going to use the memorabilia pocket, you could put it so it has the same background as your card front and just use that. Or you could switch it up and create your other bats behind it, which might make it hard for you to see your actual shimmer bats in there. I did use the black shimmer cardstock when I cut my bats the first time. But there you go. You can see options. There's always options when you're doing paper crafting, which is so much fun. I love it. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed learning about our products. Thank you again to Indie Annie Jones for hosting this playlist. I enjoy coming up with unique projects to show all of you different ways to use our Creative Memories products. Until next time.